Hello everyone, are you ready for another anime recap? Then subscribe right now to this Anime Plots YouTube channel and watch this full video. Did you subscribe? Okay, let's start the video.
2,000 years ago, a single man known as the Demon King of Tyranny wiped out the human nations, spirits, and even the gods. After giving up his life to divide the world into 4 parts, he reincarnated into the magical age and began attending the Demon King Academy, only to be labeled as a misfit. Gate Academy is currently a school solely dedicated to training the next Demon King, who is said to be the reincarnation of the previous one. On the day of the entrance ceremony, a girl named Misha Necron is pushed by some royals, causing her to drop her letter. However, it is picked up by one of our main protagonists, Anos Voltigode. As the two approach the gate, they come across a noble who is enraged because they ignored him. However, Anos reveals that he was not recognized because his magical power was so weak that they didn't even notice him. This infuriates the noble, prompting him to summon a flame to intimidate them. Anos, on the other hand, simply extinguishes it with his breath. Anos is pitted against Zeps in the practical tests. When the time comes to fight, Zeps proudly displays his magical sword, despite his boasts about the sword's ability to tenfold his powers. When he attacks, Anos easily extinguishes his flames. Anos discovers that the sword is a forgery and decides to handicap himself because his opponent is clearly too weak. However, Zeps is severely harmed by a quick beating. Anos finally attacks Zeps after he acts like a jerk, but the weak attack kills him. He quickly resurrects him because killing him means failing the test. He kills and resurrects him over and over again until Zeps admits defeat. Anos returns home to find Misha waiting for him outside. He invites her to a feast at his home, and she accepts. When they arrive at Anos' house, Isabella's mother greets them. She expresses her relief that he died despite being only a month old. Later, he sees her leave, and they are surrounded by a barrier created with creation magic as they travel. A man calling himself Demon Lord Yenda reveals his desire for vengeance on Anos for publicly humiliating his brother. When Zeps brags about his brother's power, Yenda deals with him, telling him that their family has no use for weaklings. They then proceed to assault Anos. However, he causes their magical circles to spiral out of control, allowing them to exploit. Following that, Yenda decides to redeem himself by employing forbidden magic to turn the tide of the battle. Anos, on the other hand, is unaffected because he is the source of the spell. Anos transforms Zeps into a raging zombie with more power than Yendu and advises him to accept his brother's new form and join forces, if he wants to survive. Yendu, on the other hand, is disgusted with what his brother has become. Even though he is being attacked, he tries to reach out at the last moment. Everything starts to fall apart during the explosion, but Anos manages the situation at the same time. We are then transported back in time to see Anos confronted by the hero Kanon. Anos proposes a plan to end the war between their races by sacrificing his life to cast a spell that would isolate each faction. The spell that encompasses the entire land was amplified immediately. After Anos was killed, back at school, Anos is labeled a misfit because he failed the aptitude test. Later, Amelia Rudwell, the homeroom teacher, suggests that the class be divided into 2 teams. Anos raises his hand to volunteer for group leader, but Amelia reminds him that hybrid students who wear white are not eligible for this position. They do, however, come to the conclusion that his potential will be tested. If he fails, he will have to leave the academy. For the examination, he demonstrates his abilities by improving the Jai's crest that the teacher drew. Following that, a girl named Sasha Necron declares her intentions to the class. When it comes time for Anos to speak, he introduces himself as Antos Voltigode, the Demon King of Tyranny. Everyone joins Sasha's group, leaving Anos with only Misha on his team. Sasha then confronts her sister Misha, who reveals that Misha is nothing more than a doll with no soul or will. She manipulates Anos with her demonic eye. However, it has no effect because Anos has the same eye, albeit with greater potency. Sasha challenges Anos to a duel after school, with the agreement that the loser must do whatever the winner says. After a week, the 2 teams come together for the exercise. When it starts, Anos appears alone in front of their castle. He moves to their castle wall and breaks through it alone, even lifting the castle with one arm. He starts spinning the castle before throwing it away like a small rock. Despite the group's loss of will to fight, Sasha manages to rally them and they cast a fire spell together, which they use to attack Anos. However, he cast a similar spell that cancels their attack and completely destroys their base. Sasha sits with Anos as a team member the next day in class because she couldn't beat him the day before. When the Demon Emperor Ivas Necron appears, Anos addresses him by first name, but Ivas does not recognize him. He claims to have lost his memories from 2,000 years ago and only remembers his master. Anos then attempts to jog his memory but is unsuccessful, so he abandons the matter. Anos reveals to Ivas after class that his entire past has been altered. As a result, he recalls his Avus Delhavia as the Demon King. Emily reveals that the next exercise for the class will be to obtain magical tools from a dungeon. with points awarded based on the number of items obtained by each group. Inside, Anos shows his group a hidden passage that they use to get to the dungeon's lower level. They arrive at the altar and discover a mythical scepter, and it piques Sasha's interest. Anos takes advantage of the opportunity to take Misha to the treasure room, where she used to select a gift for Sasha's birthday. Misa is drawn to a cloak enchanted with anti-flame magic, so she selects it. She also notices a lovely ring, but she is too shy to accept it. Anos gives them time to change after she hands Sasha the robe. When she returns, he discovers that Sasha has stabbed Misha. She reveals that she was putting on an act in order to win the exercise, but Anos is not impressed by her betrayal. She demonstrates her seriousness, however, by attempting to finish off Misha and flee. Anos pulls her aside and reveals that he has already healed Misha. They then engage in a battle of demonic eyes, which Anos easily wins. Misha then stops him from going any further. She tries to attend to Sasha, but she flees. Misha then reveals that she will vanish on her birthday because she never existed in the world in the first place. We later learn that Ivis Necron used magic to split Sasha's soul into two and create Misha. They were able to catch up with Sasha before she left the dungeon, so Anos asks her to reconcile with Misha. Rather, she challenges Anos to a duel, which he gladly accepts. While Anos waits, she builds two magical circles, and when he takes control of the magic circle, Sasha reveals that she invented the spell to transfer her soul into Misha and make her the original. However, for the spell to be effective, Misha has no choice but to reject her, which is why she has been cruel to her. She bids Misha farewell and casts the spell, but it fails because Misha does not truly despise her. After they make up, Anos reveals he is going to save them both by changing their past to make them separate demons. Before casting the spell, he is attacked from above by Ivis, who claims the girls are to be vessels for his master. Anos easily defeats him with the sword stuck in his heart and casts a spell that transports them to a space where the god of time has arrived to prevent them from tampering with the past. He then summons Avis and bestows upon him the power to defeat Anos. As they fight, Ivis kills Anos by stabbing him from behind. In his excitement, he reveals that he never forgot Anos is the Demon King. However, much to his surprise, Anos appears and reveals that killing him will not result in his death. Ivis has taken a step back to stop time, but Anos isn't held in place like everyone else. Anos demonstrates that even divine powers are no match for him as they battle. He starts rewinding time to when Sasha successfully creates a new source with his assistance. Meanwhile, Anos takes matters into his own hands and summons his demon sword of destruction. He battles Ivis with the sword and defeats him in seconds. Following that, Anos raises Ivis from the dead, but this time he recognizes Ontos as his master and is completely devoted to him. Later, the class is forced to retrieve swords from the ground. Only Ontos and a transfer student, however, can draw swords. The instructors decide to spar, but they are both easily defeated by the students. Later, despite being a pure-blood royal, the student introduces himself as Lei Grandstory and asks to join his team. Anos declines his request and suggests that he join Misha's group until the next competition. When the competition comes around, Misha uses her magic ring to construct an ice castle, while Anos plots to attack Lee. He notices after teleporting Delay's location that he has lent his magical powers to Misa's group to enable them to fight. Nonetheless, Anos explains that their power disparity is too great, so he picks up a stick to battle him. Then, as a result of Ontos and Lei's battle, there is a sudden shockwave in the mountains, and the waters are blown away. They continue to have fun in the heat of battle while complementing each other's abilities. Anos quickly wins the battle with his stick. Misha takes Anos to meet Sir Mel Hayes, the Demon Emperor. A few days later, he immediately recognizes Anos as his master when he sees him. During an investigation, Anos and Misha comes across Lei, who reveals that his mother is in the hospital. We can see inside that his mother is on the verge of disappearing into nothingness. The reigning champion is introduced into the arena on the day of the tournament. When Anos' name is called, he does not appear. The royals then begin mocking him in unison, prompting Isabella to bravely defend him. Lei is hostile toward Anos in the waiting room, so they have a minor altercation, with both parties spilling blood. After he leaves, Anos informs Misha that he is being controlled by a caller who has the ability to kill him if certain conditions are met. Anos' Lei's mother pays a visit to him in the hospital in the evening. She begs Anos to fight her son seriously because it is the only way she can make him happy. Despite the fact that this means she will have to die, she willingly accepts death in exchange for the happiness of her son. Anos then decides to save her by casting a spell with Misha as the source. Outside, Isabella and the Unitarians are approached by Amelia, who appears to be after Anos' sword. When they refuse to give it to her, she moves to murder them by casting a spell that blasts them all away. Anos arrives to stop her attack before she can finish everyone off. He quickly casts a spell that heals them all. He then expresses his appreciation for their actions. Then Anos takes Amelia to the training grounds, where he begins torturing her. Despite her pleas for her life, Anos kills her without hesitation. He then resurrects her, but as a hybrid race, she despises him. The referee places a ring on each fighter's arm on the day of of the final match. Despite being drained of his magical powers, Anos can keep up with Lei during their fight. When the two fighters become serious, their movements become too fast for the audience to keep up with. To bring the battle to a close, the next exchange has Anos' left arm blown off while he is stabbed in the heart. They are then transported to another dimension, where Melhace reveals himself to be the mastermind behind the operation. He also summons two more demon emperors, making the battle a 3-on-1 with Anos, who has only one arm and a depleted magical power. The two emperors are knocked down by a layman who has been released from his contract. Lei quickly distracts him and enters the prison where she is imprisoned. Melhace continues to set traps and attacks on them, while Anos attempts to counter them. On the verge of death, his mother transfers her powers into his sword, and with his newfound abilities, he escapes from the prison. At the same time, Anos is alone when he confronts Melhace, so Melhace casts a binding spell on him right away. Of course, Anos easily escapes and, in retaliation, summons his demon sword to attack Melhace. Anos reveals that the battle has caused him to regain his original powers, and no attack can now harm him. Anos then destroys the implanted device in Melhace, bringing him back to his senses. Emilia is replaced a few weeks later by a new teacher named Manu Historia. She announces that there will be an upcoming Inter Academy class at the Heroes School in Ashen, a city in the human realm. Anos simply teleports his team into the human city on the day of departure. Later, Sasha joins Anos on his investigation of the Hero Academy. They are stopped at the gate by a girl named Eleanor Bianca, who informs them that the academy is not open to outsiders. Her attitude changes when she learns they are from Delhade. She then takes them on a tour of the academy, showing them various sections. While they are discussing some myths about the Demon Lord, a reincarnation of the hero known as Led Ladriano Canon interrupts them. Laos Canon, who also claims to be a reincarnation, joins him. When Anos questions their veracity, Laos moves to attack him, but all it takes is a blink of an eye to knock him out. Bianca informs Anos that the hero Canon was murdered 2,000 years ago, and that he should not expect to be reunited with the same person. The next day, everyone gathers at the beach for the Inter Academy exams, in which they will demonstrate their respective forms of troop magic. As soon as they begin the exams in the underwater city, Rivest's group encounters some difficulties. His advanced group is also easily annihilated by the hero's class. Outside, Anos demonstrates to Historia how humans rig the river with holy water, which is toxic to demons. The heroes then proceeded to Revest's castle. Despite the fact that they are prepared for them, their powerful spell has no effect on the heroes. After that, their castle is attacked and destroyed by the hero's class, while the broadcast signal from outside is lost. Historia moves to intervene, fearful for her students, but Anos steps in. He immediately rescues the third years from the water, but she notices they have a stigma that renders them unconscious. Because the stigma is the result of holy magic, her healing magic is ineffective. Rivest rejects Anos's offer to assist. He later accepts Anos out of respect for his mentor, a historian. Anos then challenges the hero's class, who provokes him to cast a powerful spell that drains the entire river on their command. In the second round of the exam, Anos goes on the offensive by attacking them. When it reaches their barrier, a girl appears to cancel it out. Anos and Misha then break through their defenses. The girl reappears here, and she is introduced as the fourth reincarnation of the hero Hain Kanon. Anos moves to protect Misha, who is conjuring a castle, when they attack her. They use the chain to drain his magical abilities, but this backfires because Anos feeds them too much energy. Sasha and Lei can now freely fight in the barrier now that the castle has been completed. Then comes a voice that brainwashes everyone into despising the Demon King. This causes Xia to cast a self-destruct spell, resulting in a massive explosion on Anos. He is, however, unharmed. Xia appears in front of him once more to cast the same spell. This time, Bianca reveals that going to the shrine is the only way to stop Xia. When Misha arrives at the shrine, she is attacked by Diego Canon. Despite the fact that she blocks his spell, he opens a gate through which a holy light shines. Misha is greatly weakened by the light, allowing Diego to stab her from behind. He continues to stab her until she is on the verge of death. Anos arrives just in time to stop him before he kills her. Anos appears to question him, but he is uncooperative. When he loses his mind, Anos attacks and obtains his magic source, which he promptly destroys. Inside the shrine, they discover that Bianca is a magical source created by a forbidden spell. She explains after she is free that the hero class is made up of clones she created to serve as warriors to annihilate the demons. She goes on to say that the mastermind was a general named Jarka, who was killed in battle 2,000 years ago. She then shows Anos a memory in which the hero is assassinated for defying the general's plan. Diego, who has resurrected himself, interrupts their conversation, but 3 demon emperors arrive on the scene before he can do anything. He decides to concentrate on them first, but is quickly defeated. The emperors are accompanied by a masked man, Avos Delhevia, who reveals himself. Avos and his companions vanish after a brief exchange between the 2 demon kings. Outside, Diego declares war on the demons and announces the reincarnation of the Demon King. Avos Delhevia makes the same declaration in the demon realm at the same time. The following day, both armies advance toward the battlefield. Meanwhile, Anos has directed his team to try to thwart the fake Demon King's war effort. When he arrives at the demon army's base, he shows them his authentic powers, but they still don't believe he is their true master. Avos and Anos then start fighting in a field. He discovers that Avos' true identity is the hero Kanon. When he removes his mask, the hero's true reincarnation is revealed to be Lei. As they fight, Anos attacks without hesitation, and he begins to destroy magical sources one by one. The two fighters continue to fight each other in an intense battle that pushes them to the limits of their abilities. After a while, Anos destroys another source, leaving Lei with only one. With that, they reach the climax of their battle, and Anos launches a fireball the size of a meteor toward Lei. He begins canceling the attack, but by the time he is finished, Anos has allowed his sword to pair him. Anos then dons the Demon King's masks, allowing everyone to see him as the hero who slays the Demon King. Diego, who is still brainwashed by a spell, is dissatisfied with the battle's outcome. Despite Bianca's efforts, his hatred grows so strong that it summons the will of General Jarga into the world. Misha and Sasha join forces to fight the new foe, transforming into a single being. Jarga then summons an army of Xia, and the clone is about to self-destruct, so everyone works hard to keep it from exploding. The numbers under Jarga control are simply too large for the group to handle. Anos appears just before they explode, rendering them inactive. With the appearance of Anos, Jarga begins to drain his army's magical powers. He uses his power to transform into a stronger form in order to assist Anos. They start fighting Jarga together, but Anos doesn't have enough magic powers to keep up. As a countermeasure, he orders the fan club to provide him with energy through their songs. With this new development, Anos effectively ends the battle against Jarga by severing him in half. He then summons his demon swords and annihilates every trace of him from the world, eventually defeating him. And this brings the anime to an end.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.